Hey everyone, welcome to the AI Amigos show. It's me and Jin Chao today. Hey Jin Chao.
Hello,
We are
James.
with no Marina today. Unfortunately, Marina was not able to make it. There's strikes in Germany on the train, which is not so good, right? But
Definitely
today
not.
we're broadcasting without her, and we wish her that she's able to get home safely and well. I wonder how cold it is over there compared to Ireland, because here it's pretty cold, isn't it? Are you cold over there?
Yeah, I was wearing a hat earlier, but I mean, like, so I took it off. But like this weekend is pretty cold. Yes, it's going to be snowing, I think.
Ooh, nice. You,
That's
you,
it.
you got your skis ready, Chinchou?
No, no, no. And this thing, like I was trying to do a extra job on a movie, and then they're supposed to shooting tomorrow, but like the Monday they say, oh, it's cancelled. I said, okay. And why is cancer? He said it's on a boat. I said, okay, but like why is cancer? He said, oh yeah, it's pretty cold. They don't allow to go to the sea. I said, okay, interesting.
Well, I mean, it is cold, and it's supposed to be get colder tonight, from what I understand. So
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one.
yeah. More
So
coal
today
in the
what's that?
put more coal in the fire for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today we have a big show. Some things we need to talk about. Before that, as you can see, we've got a new backgrounds. We've got some new stuff on our site, all created by AI. I know, Jinshaw, you created a few things with AI. Is there anything you want to
Yeah,
share
we'll
with us
do
with
them next time. It's too funny. I couldn't stop creating them yesterday.
AI? You were a bit on fire with creating those videos, let me tell you. But
Yeah, that's I encourage everyone to try. Grok is the best of those video. I know like people created a lot of video. I don't know where they created it, but I find out Grok can do that. It's really funny. And
Grok
you know,
Imagine, isn't it? Yeah, it's
yeah. And I also like I don't know. I think it's easier on the children's face or something like that as well. So I could actually create some funny video with my kids and my wife, you know. So yeah, I guess it's always who has the access to it, right? If you just want to have fun, yeah, pretty okay. But if you're not on the opposite side of and trying to make some bad things happen, you could too. Yeah,
well, it's definitely a bit of fun anyway. So before we
yeah,
get into today, we have a few things to talk about. Just remember that we are sponsored by Tequila AI, which you can see
yeah.
this side here. Yeah, there
We
you go,
have
right here.
Jesus here.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, yeah, right. You have to like, wait a minute. I went over here. Like, wait a minute. No, it's because I see it here. Yeah, it's a mirror effect. Yeah.
We're like a dancing now.
Yeah, the mirror effect there. So
Oh,
today we're going to talk about the AI bubble and showing cracks.
yeah, yeah.
What comes after the hype, and there's definitely was a lot of hype around AI. I know when I was studying about AI, there was no hype in regards to AI, and then once ChatGPT came out,
Uh-huh.
there was a lot of hype. And so I know there's some. We got some listeners there. Feel free to ask any questions. Feel to join in the conversation. But we're going to start off with, and let me just get my talking points here that we have. And so, $650 billion have been spent this year on infrastructure, and some people calling this an infrastructure bet. So, Amazon is spending nearly 200 billion, and we know that they've had 30,000 layoffs in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So, Alphabet or Google is spending between 175 to 185 billion, doubling down on Gemini infrastructure. And Meta and Microsoft themselves have basically, between the two of them, 115 to 135 billion dollars. Now, to put
Mhm.
that in perspective, a little bit of context of what $650 billion is, it's roughly equivalent to the entire annual national budget of India.
Yeah.
They've seen combined capex of 21 major U.S. industries, including energy and auto combined. So this is
And
a
I
lot of money that's being put into
yeah,
AI.
and I
And
also I did a research. I said 600 million, and is similar to Sweden's the whole year's GBT, and it's Sweden's 662 billion. and it's more than Israel and Singapore. And
Combined.
no. Israel is 610 billion. Singapore is 574 billion.
Oh, okay.
And then what surprised me is like UAE is only 569 billion. But yeah, it's more than a lot of small countries' GBTs. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's a big spend, and I mean I think companies are obviously, if they invest this 650 billion, they are going to expect a return from it, and a lot of it is in infrastructure. And really, if you look at where AI has come, and even like I said, I started studying this stuff in 2019, and I know it's been around for way longer than that, all the way back to Alan Turing, the godfather of AI. But one of the things is that when we look at them spending this money, they believe it's going to get better, and we've seen it get better. I know, Jinchao, you and I have talked about this, and ChatGPT, they were definitely the first ones out of the gate, and then Google has surged, and now we're seeing Claude moving up. So it's interesting, how they're moving, and I know ChatGPT just released Codex, which is supposed to be a competitor to Claude Code. So, hey, Shusa, welcome. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Forgive me if I didn't. Welcome. So any comments are more than welcome to questions. Hello. So hello. So that's a lot of money. So I think, when you look at, data centers, looking at GPUs, and we talked about that last week. Remember talking about how NVIDIA is releasing GPUs over now to China or to DeepSeek, and how that was going. So that was an interesting topic. But one of the main things that we've seen happen, and it was with going on to the next point of what's happened in the market, we've seen a lot of pullback in the markets. $1 trillion in market cap pulled back.
Yeah. I think last week I was looking into it, was basically the Microsoft has the biggest dip because just Wall Street doesn't buy into this AI implementation stuff. But compared to you can see it in here. We see the market. Two of those heavy hitters are Amazon and Microsoft, right? Meta is not in there. And from the video and all other sources I see it, Meta was doing kind of not too bad on an advertising front using AI. They can actually target their audience a bit better with AI. But Microsoft just purely spending money in there, buying AWS, buying AI, like cards and infrastructure, right? And I remember like a month or 2 months ago, there's an interview with Microsoft, the CEO. He said he can easily put it on the AI, but they don't have the power to do it. So literally, they have card lying there and doesn't have the power to plug in to power the whole power station, to power the data center. So that's quite interesting. And just Wall Street, I don't think they're buying that. They look in the balance sheets and see the spending and see what they committed next year, and there's no return from the investment. So they're not buying it.
Well, I think as well as you're saying there, that we there's an issue in regards to empowering it, right? And it takes a lot of power. Shusan said there that ChatGPT isn't working for her, so I wonder if that has to do with power thing. I mean, I don't know. I know that I've experienced issues in regards to, well, for me, Jinchao, is tokens. I use them all, and it's like, you can't use it until 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and it's like, so I have to do that. So obviously, there's some of that's not working. But yeah, it's interesting how we don't have enough electricity, and in some of it with the powering, you see, like here we talked about a couple of weeks ago that they're using here in Dublin, they're using Amazon is taking heat from the data center and put it into TU Tala, and so they're
Mm-hmm.
teaching the university there, which is great, right? Because they're using that electricity to, they're not just wasting it, in other words, right? And so that's really good. But I think one of the, going back to the $1 trillion market cap wipeout, and we saw some big drops, as we mentioned already, the big capex spends of Amazon and Microsoft. But Amazon is dropped between about 10%, between 9 and 11%, and Microsoft took a big hit, about 18%. And one of the things I can see, because like Microsoft, even, I mean, they spent a lot of money into their Copilot, and now they're using Claude. So that's not a very convincing thing on using their own internal AI. But I think as well, like, my background, is financial stuff. So there's sector rotation. So, when you get overweighted in one sector, you got to sell that sector and buy a sector that's down. And so there could be
Yeah.
some sector rotation going on. And I think a lot of people feeling like, okay, the hype, the pendulum always swings too far in one direction, too much buying and too much selling. And so, I'm, and sorry, and I'm not giving any financial advice here, but just looking at those kinds of drops, I'm thinking to myself, it's a good opportunity to buy. They're on offer.
Well,
But
yes.
that's just me.
I mean, like in the last 2 weeks, everything is dropping except the silver, right? Silver was pumping crazy, but like
Bitcoin dropped as well. Yeah.
Bitcoin was down pretty big time, and most of the stock, and then a couple of those, like my one, I was doing okay on the European side, but sidetracked it. So I was thinking when you see the heating, the Amazon data center heating the Tala University, I was thinking about, like, in Bitcoin they had this kind of mining machine, right?
Yeah.
And people are buying those mining machines. I remember back about
Oh yeah.
6 or 7 years ago, and then those things are loud, but they do heat up the house pretty nicely. And then that time it was my friend who was doing GPU mining, and that you can calculate kind of how much you spend on
That's right. I
electricity.
remember they had the calculators. I remember that.
Yeah, and then you can heat up the house as well. I was wondering, maybe in the future time there might be. I know there's a couple company does that. You can rent out your GPU, kind of like, people are renting out online somehow using your GPU as compute power. So maybe in the future it's gonna be like compute on edge, a GPU on edge. You can do that, and then you can earn some money and heat it up the house that way. I don't know. Maybe you can.
Well, I mean, what about during the summertime, Jin Shao? You don't want to be heating the house in.
Everybody in Australia is doing that then.
Yeah, you got to put it down to the southern.
Yeah, we're gonna see a compute power lost for quite a bit. Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons as well that we saw the tech industry particularly go down was because of Claude Cowork. And I don't know if you've looked at Claude Cowork. It's it's barely just a couple of days ago they released it available on Windows. It was available on Mac OS X, and it's almost like we talked about this before about well, there was CloudBot, remember, and they had to change the name. But basically, they're allowing this to where it works within your local infrastructure, your local computers, and it can do certain things.
Yeah.
So it's available now, and this is why one of the other things as well is saying is that is this going to take over, or take over what software would normally do? This AI is going to be working within your computer infrastructure.
Remember, I don't know, it's a couple of months back or something, we kind of talk about this. I was saying that time it could be just the monitor later on. Your computer is not a computer anymore, it's AI. Because thinking about what we wanted to do on computer, it can be done somewhere in the cloud with AI, right? We're looking on, unless you're swapping through TikTok, right? If you want information, you go to Google. Why you need a Google? Why you need a browser? Why you need a computer, right? If you can get information straight away, I mean, you don't need the kind of devices, unless you're watching YouTube or Netflix, all that sort of stuff. It's a different story. But looking for information later on is our daily life has been changed. I don't remember, like that time when Google didn't implement the AI search in there. I don't
Mhm.
remember the last time I was using it. I was using Gemini and other stuff. Quickly find the source of the information, right? Now the Google bring in the new AI search thing. It
Yeah.
actually helps. Again, I'm going back there again, So Mhm.
Well, I mean, one of the things I want to tell people to be careful is that I put in like Cloud Cowork, download PC, and it's not there's other sites that come up that are not official sites that are Claude, and so people just be careful that they want to hack your computer, so be
All right.
really careful. You know what I mean? So it's not an official download. It's I'm not gonna say a fake download, but it's not one that's official. So I'm definitely going to be trying it out. I'm using more and more using, like you're saying, like AI in everyday workflows and
Mhm.
making my life easier, because it's just so many things you can do, and it's like now, you know, I feel like I'm an orchestrator. I'm just orchestrating my agents what I want them to do when they're doing it. And it's getting like today I was having a real bad issue, with something at work it was just, and I was going through and it just wasn't doing it. And I was doing the AI and I was doing the AI and I was like, and what I was trying to do was make this plot show and it wasn't showing. And I just finally said to anti-gravity, said, we're going at this all wrong. I said, we keep doing the same thing over and over and it's not showing it. Let's look at some other aspects. And then it said to me, I see the problem. There's a JavaScript file missing. Let me tell you what, Jin Shao, that was it. That one little simple thing, but I
Mhm.
got to keep going over and over and over and over. And I'd already gone like 3 times. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do this again. And
But
I just said,
that's the bit you have to put into the global configuration next time you put it in. Don't go over. Only go over 2 times and step back, look at the issue. That will help. I put that in because that's the kind of like the React framework, right? In the if we're coding it, is React framework is a little bit older now, but they tend to stuck in loop all the time.
yeah, yeah.
And
And it just keeps going back and it gives you the same thing. And it says, oh, it's done. And you go look at it, it's like, no, it's not done. It's
yeah.
exactly the same thing that it looked like before.
And then if you code it like we tried this before, right? If you code any kind of a rag or anything like that, you have to call to or either MySQL or Neo4j or whatever database you have for the rag. And sometimes they're stuck in the loop. They couldn't find it. I call it to again and again. So they have the timeout like a 10 of them. So maybe anti-gravity was kind of smarter. Like, okay, maybe you can put it in the chat. The global setting says, oh, I'll only go for 2 rounds. If you still have the same error, step back, look at the whole thing again.
Because
And
you're
that
using all your tokens as well.
yes, I did notice that. But I show you tomorrow my global setting. You will see those lines in there.
That would
It
be
was
very good to see, and I'm sure a lot of people here want to know what global settings they can use as well, because
yeah.
I can tell you that it's definitely things that you want to do. Like one of the things, like I paid for Claude, and like one of the things I got it to do is what do you call it? Work inside my Chrome browser. So it
Mm-hmm.
has an MCP server there. So, it can go into the browser and start doing things. And so it's,
Yeah.
as you're saying there, like the way we
So,
do life now is completely different. Work life and things like that. Like, it's unbelievable how good this stuff is getting.
yeah, those kind of thing you can, like, people are selling stuff. You can go to Google Maps and grabbing people's business information and all that. It's a different kind of scrapping data now, right?
Yeah.
Used to
Yeah.
be API, now you can do it through the browser, and your AI can actually open a browser and check that out in the browser for you and read out the information, right? The save your token, save your API keys. You don't need to pay for them, but you pay for tokens.
Well, don't be letting out your API keys. Someone else will be using them for you for sure. As we saw already.
I was like, I'm gonna bring back again now talking about the Mac Mini, right? You got me the one there, and I think those small models now is incredible now. It's a lot better than a year ago. I mean, you couldn't really tell, to be honest. Like a 40 billion you can run on 16 gig Mac Mini is good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of this stuff, like what you're doing, Jinchao, and like what we're doing, like I'm doing as well, and doing, this stuff is going to become the norm for people. This is what's going to become expected.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to someone today, and I very much believe is that AI is not going to replace humans, but humans using AI is going to replace humans that do not use AI, because you could just do so much and leave people in the dust, because like the other day I was doing some analysis. I was using my Jupyter notebook as I do, and doing some analysis on some data stuff. And then it was like, well, do I share the Jupyter notebook with the person, the stakeholder? That's no good to them. And just using, Cloud Code and saying, hey, I want to share this Jupyter notebook. Can I put it into an HTML? I created for me an HTML, showed some key insights with the numbers, and put it into a really nice HTML, and I can share that with a stakeholder. Like, you think, and it did that within minutes.
Yeah. Even let's say your Einstein IQ level, right? You're 140, 150 or whatever.
Okay.
And then
I know, but you're not supposed to tell people my IQ, okay,
okay. Try not to. But like even that level of IQ, you're going to, let's say you're developers, you go into a repo, your task is to add a certain function or troubleshoot certain function, and you can write the code and tell the AI, says, have a look, does that work? Or where can I find the place? Where is the place should I inject? Should I put this code? All that. Those kind of work, it really takes time to understand someone's code. And it could be jumping from file to file to file to file, calling different methods and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now it's done like that.
Well, I mean, Jinchao, it's a different world we're living in, man. It's a different world.
I know. I was going through some video in YouTube. They were talking about the historical stuff. Those are the people who dig up stuff, and I don't know the word, right? Checking out the history of different time and all that. This is in China. They were saying like before New China set up, it was not much changed. Even to the time of before 1980s, it's not much changed history-wise and things-wise. After that, things just changed so dramatically in every aspect of it. And
it's parabolic if you think about it. I mean, it just goes.
Yeah, I think there's a term of that word, and I forgot what it is. In Chinese, it's called 起义点. It's like a certain time in the history, it just technology exploded. Really quickly. And I think we're probably
like all the stars lined up, and
we're kind of probably on one at the moment. It's quite interesting.
Well, I mean, the next topic we're talking about here is New York is introducing an AI nutrition label bill. And a nutrition label is like I got these bag of peanuts here. You can't really see there. And at the back, it has a label of what's in there and what nutrition. So what it's saying is that if media or anyone uses AI, and funny enough, this weekend I watched the Super Bowl. For those maybe watched it or not, Bad Bunny was a halftime show.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of ads. You know how much a 30-second ad costs on the Super Bowl?
No idea.
Between $8 to $10 million. A 30-second ad. Can you imagine making
3 or 30? 3.
Huh?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. So imagine in 1 minute you can make somewhere between $16 to $20 million.
Oh.
And that doesn't include making the commercial and paying the actors and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there was a commercial that was made, or there were several of them that were AI commercials. They were made by AI, like the videos you have, right? Made by AI, selling AI. That was the thing that I thought was funny. It's AI selling AI, so it's selling itself. So this transparency law is saying it has to say, and at the bottom it said made by, made with AI. It has to say, so if you write, if an article comes out in the news or a video, whether it be on print or whether it be on television or on social media, it must disclose that AI was used and what contents were used to create that AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be full disclosure. So, there has to be a mandatory disclosure of whether a human editor reviewed the content before it was public, made public. And it's going to become effective in a year, in January 2027. And media companies are scrambling. They're trying to figure out how they get around this now.
But I don't think they could. You see, that resolved the issue about, remember we said it before, like, what if the created fake person is actually exists as the human being? Right? This law will get around that because it can say it's not my responsibility. AI created.
Yeah. Well, the other part of it as well is that if you say I created this AI image, what did you use to to train that AI to create that image? If you know what I mean. So if you say, like, for example, like, of one of Asian people, how whose pictures, China's. Let's say you make a fake Chinese person. Well, what Chinese people images did you use to make this fake Chinese person?
But most of the time, they could just say, like, okay, give me Asian people, 30 to 40. Like, they probably don't use someone's photo as base even. Yeah.
So companies are trying to, media companies are trying to figure out what they're going to do, because I know, like, there was, like, even with in Amazon, they don't allow people who were publishing books all created by AI.
Well,
so Amazon does not allow you to sell books on their bookstore.
I think they don't want people to know it's because they're making big bucks with that, right? Because used to be you probably need a full team to actually shop it, and that's the cost. But now, for a while, you've been doing it by AI, and nobody knows about it. You make big money on it, and now you have to tell them you're using AI, and then your customer says, "Oh, you're using AI, so give us a cut." Like, make it cheaper or something. Maybe that's why they are shouting the loudest at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and I'm thinking as well, like, Jinshan, like, when one of the things that AI does, and I'm sure you've seen it, it bloats, it creates a lot of stuff, right? It doesn't, it's not, unless you go and give it instructions to make it, brief, and brevity is important, right? Because it'll just make more and more and more and more. And then I'm thinking about how we are going in the future, because if content is created by AI, so, like, think about this: we have a meeting, then AI then summarizes the meeting for us, right?
Yeah.
And then we then use that summary and use AI to then create a report, or to create an agenda for the next meeting, or what the next meeting is going to be about. And it's almost like we're going to be, the way we disseminate, or I can't even pronounce that word, the way we take in information, how we process information, and what we do with that information, all of that is changing in such a fast pace.
Yeah. And I think the label is a good thing to happen, but whoever uses AI, it doesn't really matter. Like, just thinking about this way, we have nutrition labels in McDonald's, in sugary food or whatever. If you want that, you're still buying it. You ignore the label.
Same thing with smoking, right? Look at all those ugly pictures on the smoking cigarette label that it causes lung cancer, and they show picture of people with lungs that have had blah blah blah, and people still
because the satisfaction or whatever dopamine you get out of that is all weighted, whatever the risk, the warning is. So same to AI. The speed of this creating contents is unbeatable by any human to do that manually. There's no way, right?
Well, the concern there is, like, we know about hallucinations, or if it gets wrong information to then, and I think that's where a lot of the stuff, and even companies and organizations, the big
Yeah.
thing they're trying to do is like, so I want to create content or, an internal AI LLM that you can ask questions, but then it's like,
Yeah.
what about the context you give it, whether it be a RAG or whatever
Yeah.
system you give it is like, well, yeah, but someone has to go and curate that data to give it the right information, because if something changes within the organization, so let's say the company you work at, Jinzhao, and
Yeah.
something changed, it's been around for a while, and then you're training the AI with documents, or have inside the context documents that are no longer, they're irrelevant, old documents, and then
Yeah.
someone asks a question, and it gives them answers on those, based on those old documents, that are no longer relevant. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a
I
strange,
was
all right.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like 100 years from now, like the people looking back, like there's a lot of information, just 6 seconds, 6 seconds of the video generation, and then they find out all the free version of Grok generated 6 second video, and
Yeah,
then
well,
there's
imagine how long it took
other
to take
information like
hours.
maybe for 1 minute or and then they find out it's all TikTok videos. Just gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
Well, think about the hours people tend to do it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, meaning what
yeah.
I mean, like, use that, you made that Grok video and you were able to make those in seconds. Where
Hmm.
people were to edit that to make a deep fake video or a video like that, they would take them days, weeks, and how much money would you spend? And all of a sudden now the AI does it and it's free.
Yeah, it tend to make you look a bit better. Um,
Well, we got two more things to talk about here. I'm just going to briefly talk about them because we're getting to the end of
yeah,
the
we
show
enjoy
here.
we enjoy to talk too much.
Yeah. So there's two things here. Anthropic's got a $350 billion valuation. Apparently, they're getting another $20 billion round of funding. So there's money's going to be injected. And
Like the joke we were talking about. I seen that joke before. Like the staggering 350 billion valuation, right? 300 billion is probably on one prong.
well, if you see there, they're saying that they're making the next generation Claude 5. So I mean, Claude Code has been really, really good,
Yeah,
and now they're going to go to the next one. So that's going to be really, really cool.
yeah,
And then now Apple Car or Apple CarPlay, which I actually used when I was in Texas during
yeah.
Christmas. My daughter let her use her car, and I would just plug my iPhone into the USB to charge, and
Hmm.
automatically would connect the Apple Play and connect everything and maps, and like it was nothing I had to do. But now Apple Car they're going to open up, and so before it used to be just Apple content, but years of exclusivity. But now Apple has confirmed that they're allowing third-party AI assistants into CarPlay. So you could use, before it was just Siri. Now you could use Claude, you can use Gemini, you can use ChatGPT, you could use DeepSeek, you can use whatever you want, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I don't know about in Android they have Android Auto, but my car is a bit old, so I don't have Android Auto next to it. But I know like Gemini, you can do like you can say, okay, I want to go here and here and here, make a kind of like a map or something like that. It actually can send it to the map and the ABC points and all that. So I don't know if that implement that in the Android Auto now. Android Auto is kind of equivalent of Apple CarPlay. When
Yeah,
you just plug in, it just all the apps from
open
Android.
up and do everything you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Maybe Gemini will integrate a bit better there. So Apple was seeing it as competitors, which is
Yeah,
for
if you say I'm driving from, let's say I'm driving from Dublin to Letterkenny. I'm going to go with my good friend Jin Chow,
yeah.
have a few pints, right? So I say I'm driving over there and I've got some extra time. What would you recommend to stop to eat, or what would you recommend some site to see, something important, or is there a shopping center? Or this, as you're saying, like you can ask it certain things for it to do, not just because right now if you go into and the thing about like saying there about Android Play is that it has availability to Google Maps, and
Hmm.
Google Maps then allow you to then have all kinds of things there that you wouldn't normally have. So this is an interesting way. So I mean, even there now it's talking about changing the way we drive, the way we travel.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like in this, like Tesla is the competitor as well in this space because their FSD require maps and they do that as well with vision and all that sort of stuff. They have their own one. If the FSD is successfully implemented and all that, and Tesla can actually sell it as a SaaS products, we're thinking about probably more people using Tesla's ones. Just thinking about that for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Tesla, I mean, we can see already a lot of the stuff they're doing, and even seeing, like, what he's doing with Starlink, Elon Musk. And I know the whole thing about, I'm not here to promote Elon Musk, for or against him, because I know it's a very political thing. But like, if you think about like Starlink and how he's connecting with the Teslas and now SpaceX, like the guy, and he's got Grok, and he's connecting all these things, and these big companies are going to be connecting things, like what Apple is connecting their stuff. Google's Gemini is collecting their stuff. So it's quite interesting.
You can ask. I don't know. This is a point I wanted to try it so much, Tesla, to buy one in US if I'm in US, but I'm not, right? And then because our like Ireland and UK are right-hand drive, so the FSD is not available. So we can't, even with buy a Tesla, we can't get the full autonomous kind of experience from FSD, like version 13 or something now. And this is a part I would really like to try, because the news was saying one person was actually, without touching the steering wheel, drive from East Coast to West Coast with a car.
Yeah.
With a Tesla. So that was quite interesting. Yeah, I would like to try it, because you can talk to Tesla, just route me to my work, drive me to my work, and I can find the location and map it out and drive you there, so
yeah,
that's pretty good.
Okay, well, we come to the end of our show. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I thank you for your comments, and we will see you guys next week. And we should have Marina next week, and hopefully the whole strike is over. And then Jal's going to show us some of his amazing videos he's making.
You never know about the German trains. You never know.
Exactly. It's a pig in a poke. You never know. So have a great evening, everyone. Thanks, Jinxiao. Great conversation. And we'll see you guys next week on the AI Amigos Show. Don't forget, we are sponsored by Tequila AI. See, I remember where to point this time, Jinxiao. There you go.
It's a mirror image.
Exactly.
All right. Bye now.